Have you ever felt it? That profound spiritual ache of confusion when a man's actions don't match his words. You feel a powerful connection, yet he remains silent, leaving you to question everything. The truth is, there are men who don't say, "I love you," but whose very soul screams it in every move they make. Why does this happen? The answer is not on the surface. It's in the deep, hidden language of the unconscious mind. A secret that, thanks to the timeless wisdom of Carl Jung, you are about to decode. Before we reveal these powerful truths, take 1 second to hit the like button if you've ever felt this confusion. And we want to see how far this knowledge can travel. Let us know in the comments what part of the world you're watching from. It's incredible to see how Jung's teachings are helping people everywhere. Now, we know that a huge number of you who find life-changing value in our videos haven't subscribed yet. If you are ready to stop guessing and finally understand the hidden language of the heart, make sure you subscribe right now so you never miss the secrets we uncover. According to Jung, our most powerful emotional decisions are not rational. They come from a silent part of our mind that holds our deepest desires. When a man falls in love, especially one taught to suppress his feelings, his unconscious speaks first. It speaks through subtle gestures, contradictions, and actions that seem to break his normal routine, making even him uncomfortable. He may not even know why he's doing it, but there is one single powerful reason: you are already in his emotional unconscious. Stay right where you are, because we are about to show you exactly how to see the love he can't yet say. From Jungian psychology, we know that we project onto others what we lack, what attracts us, what hurts us. A man in love usually projects onto a woman qualities he admires, idealizes, or longs for in himself. He observes you, listens to you, follows you, and often doesn't even know why you matter so much to him. It's not rational, it's not logical, it's deep, so deep that he can even get scared of what he feels. He may pull away, get confused, or act in a contradictory manner. But if you learn to see these signs, you will realize something essential. His soul has already drawn near to you, even if his mind is still fighting against it. Many men were raised to be strong, not to show feelings, not to fall too deeply in love. This programming creates emotional blockages, unconscious filters, internal walls. Love then does not enter as a direct confession, but as an underground current that is expressed in involuntary actions. And here comes the most interesting part. Those actions say much more than words. A message at an odd hour, a gaze that lasts a second longer, a memory he mentions even though you didn't bring it up, a sudden need to help you, to protect you, or even to argue with you. All of this is part of the unconscious language of love. Jung said that a person becomes complete when they recognize all their parts, the rational, the emotional, the instinctive. A man who begins to fall in love without knowing it is right in the middle of that process. His unconscious already knows it, his body is already living it, but his mind still needs time to accept it. And what you can do is not to force anything, not to demand clarity, but to observe, to read between the lines, to listen beyond what is said, because there, right there, is where the soul's truth lives. In the next part, we will delve into the first concrete sign, when he pulls away, but can't let you go. A common pattern in men who are deeply in love, but emotionally blocked. One of the most bewildering and at the same time most revealing signs that a man is in love without knowing, it is this emotional push and pull. He pulls away, but then comes back. He says he needs space, but can't help but seek you out. He tries to set boundaries, but breaks his own rules when he feels you. Might really pull away. This pattern is not coincidental, nor is it necessarily manipulation. Many times, it is the clear reflection of an internal struggle between the unconscious and the rational mind. When a man feels something deep, but has not yet consciously recognized it, a duality appears that fragments him. On one hand, his unconscious, connected to the anima, his emotional part, pushes him towards you, moves him, attracts him, makes him think of you at unexpected moments. But on the other hand, his rational ego tries to maintain control. It seeks to protect itself from pain, not to give in, not to surrender to what he himself considers a threat to his stability. This internal conflict generates erratic behaviors. One day he seems completely available, tender, present, and the next distant, cold, evasive. But if you observe carefully, you will see that he cannot maintain that distance for long. Then an inevitable question arises. What if he's not playing with you? Many women interpret this behavior as a form of manipulation. And yes, there are men who play games, but there are also others who are confused, scared, or emotionally immature and don't know how to deal with what they feel. Jung said, "What is not brought to consciousness manifests in our lives as fate." In this case, what he does not recognize as love ends up being expressed in contradictory behaviors that affect the relationship without him understanding why. That's why he leaves, but can't let you go. That's why he's silent, but then writes. That's why he avoids committing, but gets jealous if he sees you with someone else. So, why does he have a hard time staying? There is an idea that deeply scares many men, losing themselves in a woman. Not because they don't want to love, but because they never learned to preserve themselves while loving at the same time. That fear pushes him to take distance, to reaffirm his autonomy, to remind himself that he is still himself. But when the love is real, the unconscious does not cooperate with this flight. It continues to attract him, continues to connect him with you emotionally, even if he tries to cut that tie. Jung explained that the soul seeks to become complete, and love is one of the most powerful ways that happens. Therefore, when he pushes you away, it is often because he feels he is giving you more power than he understands, and that makes him feel vulnerable. What can you do? First, don't take it personally. Often the problem is not you, but his relationship with his own emotions. Second, don't try to convince him. When the rational part feels pressured, it only defends itself more, closes off, hardens. And third, observe in each return, in each silence, a reappearance charged with contained emotion. You notice he can't let go completely. There is something more than superficial attraction there. There is an active, unconscious connection. It is not about justifying, it is about understanding and deciding if you are willing to accompany someone who is still learning to love truly. In the next part, we will explore the second sign. He protects you even without you asking for it. One of the purest, most primitive ways that unrecognized love manifests itself when a man is in love, even if he hasn't recognized it yet, is a force within him that activates instinctively. It's the impulse to protect you, not necessarily with grand, heroic gestures, but in the most everyday acts. Warning you if you're late, lending you his coat without you asking, observing your surroundings when you go out together, taking care of you, even when you think it's not necessary. And often, he does all this without fully understanding why. Carl Jung spoke of archetypes, universal patterns that inhabit the collective unconscious, and one of them is that of the guardian protector. This archetype is not just physical, it's not about muscular strength, but something deeper, more symbolic, taking care of what is deeply valued. When a man begins to connect with his anima, that feminine archetype that inhabits his psyche, the guardian within him also awakens. And if you are that figure that connects with his emotional side, it is very likely that his natural impulse will be to take care of you, to protect you, to anticipate your needs. And he will do it without you having to ask, without you having to demand anything. How does this protection manifest? Often unconsciously. It's not always evident, not always direct. Sometimes it's disguised as concern, a message, just wanted to know if you got home safe, or a phrase that sounds like control, but at its core is care. I don't like you walking alone in that area at night. It may seem exaggerated, it may sound unnecessary, but it is actually his unconscious speaking. It is the reflection of an emotional bond that he cannot yet verbalize. Other times, that protection appears as a silent gesture. He accompanies you even if he doesn't feel like it, just so you don't go alone. He changes his plans for you without making it noticeable, without seeking applause, without calling it a sacrifice. He is attentive. He perceives if someone makes you uncomfortable, notices if something disturbs you, and reacts, sometimes clumsily, other times with intensity, but from a real place, because your well-being matters more to him than he dares to admit. Jungian psychology tells us that we often act from a part of ourselves that we do not yet understand. And in the case of love, this is especially evident. You can feel an intense need to care for, to protect, to be present without having a logical explanation. When he behaves like your refuge, your emotional security, your physical shelter, even without a formal relationship, even without having expressed feelings clearly, it is the unconscious that guides him. And the most powerful thing about all this is that this protection is not born from duty. It is born from a genuine desire, a desire that springs forth effortlessly because his soul has already begun to see you as a valuable bond, something he does not want to lose. Now, there is a distinction we must make. To protect is not to control. When that protective gesture is accompanied by excessive jealousy, impositions, distrust, or demands that reduce your freedom, then we are no longer talking about unconscious love. We are facing a form of emotional control disguised as care. True love does not limit, does not confine, does not demand submission. True love accompanies, safeguards, strengthens, and the man who loves you, even if he hasn't been able to say it yet, will act from that place, not because he thinks he should, but because his soul already recognizes you as something he wants to care for, preserve, keep close and safe. Jung spoke of the anima as that feminine archetype that lives in the male unconscious, an energy that acts as a bridge between the emotional and rational worlds of man. If you activate that bridge in him, if he unconsciously associates you with that energy, then he will see you as someone to be respected, cared for, protected. And even if he doesn't say, "I love you," even if there are no words, his actions will speak. His silences will be full of presence. His gestures will reveal a deep need for you to be well, even if inside he himself is falling apart. In the next part, we will enter the third sign, a subtle, deeply revealing clue. He remembers details about you that you yourself have forgotten. One of the clearest, most delicate, and yet most ignored signs that a man is in love without knowing it is his ability to remember small details. Details you didn't even remember sharing, and yet he holds onto them. Phrases, gestures, situations, details that seem insignificant, but for him they were recorded. And do you know why? Because when the soul connects, the mind retains without effort. In Carl Jung's psychology, the unconscious not only stores traumas or repressed desires, but it also stores emotional connections. And these connections often manifest in the form of memories. But not just any memories. They are the ones that touch the soul. When a man remembers things about you, your grandmother's name, how you take your coffee, a song you mentioned only once, he doesn't do it because he has an exceptional memory. He does it because everything that comes from you passes through a special filter in his psyche, a filter that prioritizes what really matters to him. He doesn't need to make an effort. He doesn't need to take notes. You are already anchored in his inner world, even if he hasn't realized it yet. What kind of details are signs? Observe this. He remembers the exact date you talked about something painful. He brings up a phrase you said weeks ago, as if it were recent. He knows what perfume you wear, even if you never told him. He detects changes in your way of speaking, in your way of dressing, in the way you look. He is interested in people or situations you mentioned only once. All of this is not a coincidence. It is a clear sign that he has been emotionally present, even at times when he seemed distracted. His unconscious is completely connected to you. And the most striking thing is that often he doesn't even know why he remembers everything. He just knows that he does. Jung spoke of the importance of emotions as a way of anchoring the soul. What touches us emotionally is engraved more strongly than what we simply think. When you touch something in him, a wound, a nostalgia, a hope, that becomes an emotional mark, and from there, everything that surrounds you becomes significant to him, even if he can't explain it. That's why, when a man is in love without knowing it, his emotional radar begins to register everything that has to do with you, as if a part of him knew that you are already part of his story. How do you remember that? A revealing question. If you ever ask him, how do you remember that? And he replies, I don't know, I just remembered. Pay attention. His unconscious has already done its job. He already carries you inside. The most fascinating thing is that while his rational part struggles with fear, ego, or confusion, his unconscious continues to create a story with you. And one way to know this is when he remembers things about you, even more than you do yourself. Jung said that the soul has different timings than the mind. The soul feels, connects, records, while the mind seeks control, logic, and security. So don't be confused if he seems cold at times, but then remembers exactly how you felt on that grey day. Don't think he doesn't care if he doesn't say, I miss you, but shows up with that book you mentioned only once. Do not underestimate the memory of the heart. The soul does not forget what truly touches its core. In the next part, we will analyze the fourth sign. He gets nervous when he's close, but doesn't know why. Body language as a confession of the soul. There is something the body cannot hide, even when the mind has not yet processed what it feels. Body language. And if a man is in love, even if he hasn't recognized it yet, his body will speak for him. In fact, it will speak too much. One of the most authentic signs is this. When he is close, he changes. He gets nervous, stares too much, or avoids eye contact, touches his face, crosses his arms, and then uncrosses them. He laughs at things that are not that funny. He talks fast or falls. Silent. His system is altered even if he can't explain why. Why does the body react this way? Because the body responds to the unconscious. Carl Jung said that repressed or unrecognized psychic energy manifests in physical behavior. That is, what you cannot say, you express with gestures, movements, tensions. When a man has not accepted that he feels something strong for you, but his soul already knows it, his body gets trapped between two impulses, to get closer and to flee. And that generates anxiety, awkwardness, discomfort, not with you, but with what he himself feels. Many times, a man in this situation doesn't understand why he feels strange around you. He doesn't know why he tenses up when you get close, nor why he becomes more serious or even more jocular. It's not a strategy. It's an involuntary defense of the ego against an emotion it cannot yet process. Remember, real love implies vulnerability. And if he has learned to protect himself from pain, love disarms him. That's why, when you are near, an emotional shock mechanism is activated. His heart beats faster, even if he doesn't say it. He becomes more attentive or more uncomfortable, loses control of his usual reactions, makes clumsy comments, contradicts himself, exposes himself. And all this happens because his soul is pushing him towards something that his mind does not yet dare to accept. You may notice things that he himself does not register. His tone of voice changes with you. He unconsciously grooms himself. When he sees you, he becomes more serious or more hyperactive. He tries to fill the silences or immerses himself in them. He has small gestures of physical restlessness, tapping his fingers, touching his neck, looking down. It's not about a fear of you. It's about a fear of what you make him feel. Jung spoke of the shadow, that part of us that contains the unaccepted, the repressed, the unknown. For many men, the capacity to love is in the shadow because they have learned that feeling deeply is dangerous, unmanly, or a threat to their stability. When a woman activates that dormant part, the man doesn't know how to react, and his body gives him away because the soul is already awake, even if he tries to stay asleep. That's why he gets nervous, not because of insecurity, but because of depth. Not because he doesn't like you, but because you already matter too much. In the next part, we will address the sixth and final sign. He gets jealous, but doesn't admit it. An unconscious reaction that reveals what his ego denies. There is something that jealousy reveals before words, the desire for emotional exclusivity. And when a man is in love, even if he is not conscious of it or doesn't want to accept it, his body, his gestures, and his silences reveal something that his mouth does not say. He wants you for himself. We are not talking about toxic, possessive, or violent jealousy. We are talking about that sudden, involuntary, almost childlike emotional reaction that appears when another man pays attention to you, or when you pay attention to another. It's the kind of jealousy that isn't spoken, but is felt in the air. Jung taught that the unconscious reveals what consciousness dares not face. When a man feels jealous but doesn't admit it, neither to you nor to himself, he is showing that there is a part of his soul that has already chosen you, even if his mind is still in denial. And in that internal struggle, the result is always visible. He suddenly becomes colder. His expression changes for no apparent reason. He makes sarcastic jokes about the situation. He pulls away, then comes back. He asks you indirect questions in a casual tone. And so, you must understand that what is happening is not superficial. You are touching a very intimate fiber of his psyche. While his conscious mind builds defenses and his ego creates a mask to stay in control, his soul reacts from a place of pure, unfiltered truth. That flash of silent, controlled jealousy is one of the most powerful signs of a real emotional connection. A profound, clumsy message from his unconscious saying, "I don't know why, but it hurts me to imagine you with someone else." We want to thank you for trusting us to guide you to this deeper understanding, because as Carl Jung said, what is essential always begins in the unconscious. When that man protects you without thinking, remembers everything about you, gets nervous by your presence, and gets jealous without admitting it, his soul has already decided. He is in love. His mind just hasn't caught up to that internal truth yet. You now have the confidence to trust what you see beyond the words. Now, a powerful question for you, based on Jung's wisdom. In the comments below, tell us which of these unconscious signs has been the most undeniable revelation in your own life. As you share your story, hit that like button to help this truth reach others who need to hear it. And we've noticed something incredible. A massive number of you who